I'm falling in love with my best friend's younger sister, please help. I wish I weren't in this situation in the first place, and I still can't believe this is even happening to me. I would do anything to be able to control my feelings, but they are growing stronger by the day. I have been friends with Ava, my childhood best friend, since we were both 8 years old. I have debilitating social anxiety, and before Ava and I became friends, I was bullied relentlessly by other children. But that all changed after we met. Ava stood up for me when other kids picked on me, and once in middle school, she even jumped a girl for calling me ugly. I still remember that day like it was yesterday. She broke the girl's nose and I realized I never had anyone care for me like she did. She is the best friend any girl could ask her, and I can't imagine what my life would have looked like without her by my side. I am very close with her family since we've been friends since we were kids. I don't have the best home life, so Ava's family really took me in and cared for me often when I was a child. I truly feel like part of their family. Ava has one sibling, a younger sister named Alana. Ava and I are 24, and Alana is 22. Me and Alana always butted heads as kids. She was a big girly girl, and I was always a strict tomboy. I never thought feelings could unfold between the two of us as adults. Anyways, Ava graduated early and has a high-paying job at a tech startup. Alana and I are still in school, and we actually attend the same college. We had a shared class for the very first time this semester, and I honestly groaned when Ava told me she would be in my class. As I said, Alana and I have totally opposite personalities. She is very cheery and bubbly, meanwhile I'm pretty quiet and secluded. Fast forward to the first week of school, I was genuinely surprised when Alana turned out to be a great classmate. She is much brighter than I ever guessed she would be, and she helps out other classmates during downtime. It was during this class that I started to like her personality as I saw more of it. She was always in a cheerful mood and would honestly light up the room every time she walked in. Eventually, Alana and I started studying together. Sometimes we would study at her house since I was there all the time anyway, but as the semester went on, we studied in a quiet corner of the library together. We were just sitting there, studying one day, when I looked over at her and saw her biting her nails. I pulled her hand out of her mouth and told her to stop that, and she gave me this sly little smile and sat on her hands for the rest of the study session. I don't know what it was about that little gesture, but when she smiled at me like that, it was like a tiny firework went off in my chest. At that moment, I realized how tender and beautiful she was. It was a dizzying feeling, and when we walked out of the library that night, I knew I would never see her the same. I kept my feelings hidden, but as we kept spending time together, I only fell for her harder. At first, I thought it was just me, but out of nowhere, Alana slowly started acting really flirty with me. I chalked it up to us getting closer, but she would text me often and make constant excuses to touch me. When we met up to study, she made it a habit to sit right next to me, close enough that our thighs were touching. One day she even put her leg up on mine, and during a late-night study session, she literally fell asleep on my shoulder. Everything came to light one night in the library. She was sitting right next to me as usual, and I made a joke that made her laugh really hard. The next thing I knew, she was leaning close to me, telling me how much she loved hanging out with me. We looked into each other's eyes and stopped laughing. I restrained myself, but Alana didn't. She grabbed me like she wasn't a foot shorter than me, and kissed me hard. I couldn't help it. How could I? I kissed her back, and we made out in the library for 45 minutes straight. It was the most tense, erotic moment of my life up until that point. Afterward, we both felt sort of guilty and overwhelmed, yet giddy. We had a long conversation afterward, where we both spilled our guts about our feelings for each other. We decided we wanted to be together, but we agreed that the first person to know had to be Ava. We spoke about how she might react. I thought she would accept us since Ava has always been so supportive of me, but Alana expressed extreme nervousness. She said that Ava was very protective over her and was usually pretty hard on anyone she dated. We decided to start dating that night, and settled on telling Ava the very next day. Looking back, I wish we had kept our relationship a secret for longer.